All right, good people, happy Saturday. It's Coach Tam, and I am checking in to talk about three fears that can halt both you and me in our progress. And, I actually had been knowing that I should get on and talk about this for a while. But when fear had held me back. And so I want to talk about some of the things that I've been dealing with, and perhaps some of the things that you may have been dealing with too, and how we can move past it. So, quick story, maybe a few weeks ago, it had been kind of coming up for me over and over again. I needed to get back into more video. So those of you that have been following me for a while, we've been following my Tamara Jackson Fitness Expert page or the 265 pages, prior to things kind of getting a little crazy at the end of last year, and then moving into this year as we were going through our transition, I used to be on video quite often. But then, as I said, all these things started happening, and I got out of the habit, got out of the routine of doing these types of videos. And even though I felt like God was telling me, hey, you need to get back into this, I was resistant. And I was trying to figure out, why is it that you are not making progress with this, knowing that it is something that you're supposed to do. It's something that's attached to purpose for you. I know that speaking is one of the ways that God uses me to impact and influence others. So while writing is important, there's also a special power in being able to speak. Scripture tells us that we are able to speak life into situations. And I believe that that's what a part of what I am called to do. So what was holding me back all boiled down to fear. So I want to talk about three different types of fear and how these can hold us back. And it can be in pursuit of weight loss and fitness goals, or in pursuit of goals that God has for us around our career, our business, our relationships. So the first one is abbreviated FOLS. You may not have heard of this one. It's abbreviated the fear of looking stupid. This one, I'll be honest, gets me a lot. I often say a recovering perfectionist, right? So, the more that I learn about video and how to show up, if you will, on social media, the more attuned I become to how, I want things to come together, right? So we want to have our hair just perfect. We want to have the perfect lighting, the perfect clothes on, all these different things. We want to have the perfect things to say because we don't want to come across as a person that doesn't know what they're talking about, right? So, as we're trying to build a following, if you are an influencer or a business leader, you are very conscious of how people are perceiving you. So sometimes you may know that there's something that you need to do, but you don't take that step forward because you're afraid of looking stupid. Or maybe it's with your meal plan, your exercise routine, right? So maybe you've tried before and you don't know if at this juncture, if you can really do it. You may have told people in the past that you were going to do it and maybe you didn't follow through. So you don't want to bring it up again or anyone to know again that you're pursuing this. So you may not even take those courageous steps forward and get the support you need. So fear of looking stupid is one thing that can hold us back. And then there is FOF, fear of failure. Fear of failure. So it's not just a fear of getting started, but it's a fear that the work, if you will, the seeds that I'm planting, the things that I'm doing are not going to pay off. Right? So I'm going to invest all this time, I'm going to invest all this energy. I see this a lot from a weight loss standpoint. Because of my past, because of the experiences that I've had, I can develop this fear of failing again. And sometimes rather than risk failing, I either don't start at all, right? So maybe God has placed something in my heart, but I either don't start at all because I've already decided in my head that it's going to end badly, that I'm going to fail, or I will get started and then I will self-sabotage, maybe not even realizing it, self-sabotage my progress, right? So this fear of failure can also hold us back from what God has for us. And then the last one is a fear of success. Now, this one may sound crazy, and we actually talked about this a bit in our Strive Bible study today, but I think a lot of times what drives a fear of success is what we see coming along with success. So with success comes a spotlight. It becomes a situation where you are getting a lot of attention, right? And so a couple of things can play through our minds. You know, if I get all this attention, am I going to remain humble? We talked about that in Strive Day. Am I going to let it go to my head? Am I going to get disconnected from the source that made all of these things possible? But then there's the fear of the responsibility that comes along with success. Can I truly handle it, or am I going to get to a point where I have been promoted beyond my level of competence? Or maybe for some people, the fear of success is, oh my gosh, I'm going to get up there and everybody's going to realize, something's going to happen. Something's going to kind of, destroy everything. And then I'm going to be embarrassed, right? And so what started out as a good thing, it started out being positive and, a successful experience because of how things tend to work out for me. The way my life is set up, it's not going to work out. And even though it seems like it's success, just the way I know things happen for me, it's going to end up in failure. So it's kind of this interesting twist on a fear of failure. So fear of looking stupid, fear of failure, fear of success can hold us back. If you can identify with any of these, I want to share some thoughts with you that God shared with me. And it's both spiritual and practical. So the first piece is, what does Scripture say about fear? So if we were to go to 2 Timothy 1:7, and I have it pulled up here, New King James Version, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Most of us have heard that scripture. But the challenge is when we're in these moments of fear, being able to identify where the fear is coming from. So 2 Timothy 1:7 reminds us that fear is not of God. So if we're finding fear coming up, if we're hesitant about moving forward with something that God has dropped in our heart, we know that that's not of Him. So it can only be one of two things. It's the enemy and his influence, trying to hold us back from what next steps we need to take, or it's some of our stuff, right, that's coming up. The past experiences, right? The unbelief, the doubt that's coming up that's preventing us from moving forward. So once we settle, fear is not of God, then we know we can't stay there. We have to move forward. So then the question is, Coach Dan, what are the practical steps to moving beyond a space of fear? Three things that I have to share with you. Actually, two things that I have to share with you. One, set a goal. Set a goal that's going to challenge you to get outside of your comfort zone, that's going to challenge you to push past the fear that has been holding you back. One of my good friends from years ago, when I was involved with Beachbody, Kenyatta, he used to always tell me, Tam, remember, action cures fear. And it's been years, probably it's been longer than that. Maybe 6 or 7 years ago, he told me that. And it stuck with me all this time. Action, I'll share with you, action cures fear. So a lot of times what we want is to stop feeling afraid, and then we're going to act. But Kenyatta reminded me, no. You've got to take action if you want fear to go away. And when you think about it, that's scriptural. Scripture tells us to be strong and courageous, for the Lord is with us, right? So we're moving forward because we believe God is with us. So we've got to push past the fear. So number one, set a goal that gets you out of your comfort zone. And then the second piece is, somebody's got to know about your goal. Because I don't know about you, if I'm the only person that knows about my goal, my follow through doesn't tend to be the best, because it's a lot easier to hold other people accountable than it is to hold yourself accountable. I always say I am my hardest client. Managing ourselves, for you and for me, is the hardest thing. So you need to give someone else permission to hold you accountable. So now that I've recognized, hey, this fear is not of God, you recognize that this fear is not of God, we've got to set a goal. We've got to have people to hold us accountable to move forward. So one of the easiest ways that I know to create accountability is to come on here, right? So I know that this has been something that God has asked me to do, and I've been holding back from doing it. So I set a goal for the next 30 days, with the exception of Sunday. I'm going to get on video somewhere on one of these platforms, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, somewhere, and I'm going to share something that God has placed in my heart that I believe, that I pray will bless you. And so by stating that now, you guys are able to hold me accountable, and then I can check in each day to let you know and to hold myself accountable for following through. So what type of goal do you now need to set? What is it that you've been afraid to do, but God is calling you to do? And who's going to hold you accountable for following through? If I can help you with that, I'm not a perfect example. I'm not a perfect example, but I believe that if we partner together, we can get there. So you can visit my website at www.265point.com, or if you'd like to enter a drawing to win 30 days of free coaching with me, there's a link in this Facebook Live where you can sign up. And the more that you share that opportunity, it increases your chances to win. I hope that this has been a blessing to you. It's been a blessing to me just to get out here and to face the fear, because action cures fear. Have a great evening. God bless.